Wrong is so yesterday. Channeled by Brenda Hoffman for LifeTapestryCreations.com. Because your courage and tenacity know no bounds, you'll master this self-worth phase as completely as you have every other. You are proving more resilient in your need to be right than even you thought possible before birth in this lifetime. There is no right nor wrong, merely differing viewpoints. Such can be indicated by the histories of the same event in different decades or historical periods. For example, in the United States, eminent domain was touted as the right course of action prior to the 1900s. But at the time of those events, it seemed historically correct. Your need to be right is not necessarily the best or only viewpoint, merely your viewpoint. It is time to realize no one claims a perspective without a personal interest. That is not to say you need not have a viewpoint, but instead to caution you against seeing that viewpoint as closed, as right or wrong. As you become more advanced in your 5D and beyond world, you will discover that allowing only one viewpoint limits both your personal and world options. This is a new world in a new time. It was necessary for your grandparents and great-grandparents to open their minds to automobiles, airplanes, the radio, and telephones. It is time for you to set aside your preconceived knowingness of what is possible or right. Just as horse-driven carriages went by the wayside when automobiles were introduced, so too will your world change in ways you cannot yet imagine. You will miss the beauty of all that is now happening in the world beneath the surface of general knowingness if you insist your way, likely the 3D way, is the only way. Do you not sense how quickly your world is changing? Most importantly, do you not understand how and why you are changing? Your physical, spiritual, and emotional shifts were not created to retain the old. You are a new being in a new world. So it is what once was, is no more. Just as you are creating a new being with new interests, so are all others who awakened the past few weeks. Until now, you were somewhat isolated and created your vision of brightness based on what you knew. You, and we, did not understand that once the world started displaying new inventions, thoughts, and actions, you would decide that you would rather live in what was instead of what is becoming. Granted, during this time of global political, physical, and emotional upheaval, it is logical that you revert to what once seemed comfortable. But because you are a new being, what was comfortable will never be again. You are no longer who you were in thought or body. This is a new age that includes new thoughts and actions. Such does not necessarily mean you will create something that will change the world, daring to be you is already doing that. But instead, that you open to thoughts that seem silly in 3D but are now becoming a reality. Your old life is gone, just as would be true if you moved to a foreign land. Yes, even the language is new. For new words are being created to address new actions. And in time, those words will disappear as nonverbal communication becomes the norm. For now, you merely need to allow yourself to accept new ideas even from those you believe are your enemies. That is not to say you must deny your inner rightness. But instead, open yourself to new ideas that might seem far-fetched or silly at first. For you, forerunners pushed against everything believed to be normal through meditation, chakra knowledge, and similar items from the East, and proved that messages from unknown sources displayed in writing or channeling offered assistance for the world. Please give the same freedom of movement and openness of thought to those in the second and third waves. These new idea people might even be those with whom you are uncomfortable. You need not become their best friend or even acquaintance. Your only responsibility is to allow them to be. For just as you were once tadpoles who evolved into frogs, so too are now the second and third waves as they go through their testing of what is right for them, and therefore, the world. Those in the second and third waves are just dipping their toes into the creations that will help make Earth a life peaceful and joyful. It is time to put aside divisions. It is time to create a world of peace and, yes, love. Neither of which is possible if right and wrong are pushed to the extent that has been true the past few decades. Different is the term of the hour and the decade. Bad and wrong are of yesterday.